Not again. Well, we're under the hood of the Honda Element today. And I think we need a valve adjustment because I'm having this misfire after my trip to Joshua Tree. If you haven't seen that trip, you can check it out up here. It was a really cool, fun vlog that we did. Teach you how to do the valve cover adjustment. There's a really good video by Eric, the car guy, and he goes into great detail. But so we need the valve cover, and I use this guy here to pull the valve cover off. We need a 10mm socket and a 19mm socket, a 10mm wrench, some feeler gauges, and this is the most important thing here because that's how you're gonna do the adjustment. A regular screwdriver, and then that's another 10, and then here, and this is what you're gonna do to make sure you don't have any leaks when you put the valve cover back on. So first things first is we got to go under the hood, and I already did part of it already, but we move all the covers. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10mm bolts to remove these covers. Just go ahead and unscrew those, and then the covers will pop off. And then we're gonna remove all the spark plugs. We removed the wires already here, and then we're gonna unscrew these little guys, and these little guys are what keep the valve cover on. So let's get to work. And this is something you never want to see. That looks like rat poop. So hopefully there's no rat living under here. What do we think about that spark plug? Looks pretty good to me. Here's the fun part. We get to take the valve cover off. So if you were curious, this is what the engine looks like underneath. And this is the intake, and that's the exhaust side of the valves. So we want to get this to top dead center so we can adjust the valves. And here's the feeler gauge we're going to use. We use 0.008 for the intake side, and I believe it's 0.0012 for the exhaust side. This is not too terrible of a job to do. It looks intimidating, but once you do it a few times, it's pretty mellow. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty top dead center. And the firing order, I believe, is 1, 3, 4, and then 2. So when you turn this is the next one that pops up, and then it's that one, and then it's this one. So that's kind of the order you would adjust them in. So how you get the engine to rotate so those valves are in top dead center is you come over here to the power steering pump, and this bolt is a 19mm bolt. So you go ahead and take your socket, connect it on here, and you turn this to the left. And when you crank that to the left, every crank will turn the engine just a little bit. So you have to make sure you stop it right when the cam lobe is pointed at top dead center, and there's markings on the side of the engine to show where top dead center is. Okay, back to the program. So anyway, I've got the 0.008 feeler gauge here, and you kind of rub that back and forth, right? And you want like a little bit of resistance, but not too much. It's almost perfect. I'm gonna tighten it a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of hard to explain until you really feel it yourself. So there's a special tool to do this, but I don't have that tool, so this is the other way to do it. You take your 10mm wrench right here, slap it on top, and then you get your screwdriver. You're just gonna tighten it down just the littlest bit. It still feels a little on the loose side. So now I can't move it at all. That's way too tight, so you gotta loosen that up. Let's see how that feels. Yeah, that feels good right there. Cool. So keep that where it is. Tighten this down. Yeah, that feels good. All right, and then you repeat the process on each one of these valves. And here we're gonna turn the engine so we're on top dead center on the 3rd cylinder. Perfect. So now you can see top dead center on the 3rd cylinder, and we'll check these valves and then we'll do it for all the other ones. So now we're moving over to the exhaust side, and you can see I brought it to top dead center. You want to make sure you do that before you check. So I'm gonna take my feeler gauge back here. This is a .002, and I'm just gonna feel around, and that's working. Feels like there's a lot of space there. And that's kind of the common theme with these Honda Elements, is that the exhaust valves tend to be tight, and that's why you have to adjust them a little more frequently than owner's manuals say. So we're finished up. We're gonna put everything back together. This is the one I use. It's the Ultra Black 82180. You can also get the Honda version, but it's got 4 locations. 1 location there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 back there. And you want to use just the smallest amount of this stuff, nothing too much, and that'll make sure that your gasket stays on nice and strong and with no leaks. So we fired up the engine, and you definitely don't want to smell it, and it's a little loud, and that's okay. But it is running very smooth, and that's kind of what you're looking for. But so the misfire code, I just reset it. I'm going to take it for a little test drive, make sure the code doesn't come back, and then we'll know for sure if we fix this thing or not. All right, so I've driven a few miles, and she's working pretty good. Due to this channel, I live in this Honda Element, so if you're somebody who loves Honda Elements and you want to see the adventures I do in this Honda Element, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.